Alright guys, so again, I have a feeling that you're not going to be happy with this, but hey, I'm not here today, but I still want you to watch the video so that we can finish up chapter 2.6 and work on the assignment. Now this video is going to be pretty short, and because we only have really 2 more slides left and then we're done. The first thing we're looking at today is this here, reflections across the x and y axis. Now the graph y equals negative f of x, a reflection across the x-axis. So that means any point that's above the x-axis is now that equal amount below it. So if this is 3 units above, it's now 3 units below, or vice versa. So if it was 4 units below the x-axis, it's now 4 units above. And it could have been that this was our original line. This one's now our new line. Reflection across the x. Now, y equals f of negative x is a reflection across the y-axis, and it operates in a similar manner. So if we had a point over here, and it is 3 units away from the y-axis when it's reflected across, it's now 3 units on the other side. And vice versa. If we had a point over here that's 4 units away from the y-axis, if we flip it across, it's now 4 units on the other side. So our graph was this here. It is now this here. And that's just the reflection across the y. So if we look at this here, A, we'll do A in blue. So negative f of x is a reflection across the x-axis. So it's flipping it across this line here. Or really we can say that we're changing all of the y values from positive to negative, or negative to positive, because if they were a positive value, they're now negative. If they were a negative value, they're now positive. So here, the y value is negative 1, and if we reflect it across the x, it is now positive 1. Here, the y value is positive 2, which means the y value is now negative 2. There's our first spot. Here, the y value is positive 2, it's now negative 2. Here, the y value is 0, so the y value stays 0. So this here would be a reflection across the x-axis, and we can see it's a mirror image across this line here. It's just flipped it. Now reflection, so we want to graph f of negative x. This here we'll do in red is a reflection across the y-axis. Or here we're saying the x values are going to go from positive to negative, or negative to positive. They're going to flip. Now, with either one, the only ones that don't flip are the points that lie on the axis itself. So since we're flipping it across the y-axis, and our first point here is at the y-axis, it's not going to move. But our next point here is at positive 3. Now it's going to be at negative 3. The y value doesn't change, the x does. Here we're at positive 4, so now we're going to be at negative 4. We could also think of it as, for the first one here, this one, erase it, this color, this one is a distance of 1, 2, 3 away from the y-axis, so we go distance of 1, 2, 3, and that's our new point. We can also think of this point here as a distance of 1, 2, 3, 4, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's our new point. And our last one is here. Well, we're a distance of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to go a distance of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's it. And it's reflecting it across this y-axis. And so we can see that it is a mirror image from one side to the other. And that's all we have to do for these here. Now there is one thing I did want to look at, and that's graphing some of these here. So the graph of y equals negative 2 absolute value of x. So there's different things we can do. One of them would be plotting points and going from there. So Now, for the most part, for the absolute value function, we need the smallest point and then 2 points either side. Now, since it doesn't move, there's nothing being added or subtracted inside the parentheses, and nothing being added or subtracted outside, the vertex is still the point 0, 0. And so for this here, with absolute values, we just need 1 point to the left and to the right. So negative 1. So we can say negative 2, plug in negative 1 for x. Well, the absolute value of negative 1 is 1, and 2 times 1 is negative 2. We can do the same thing with 1. 2 times the absolute value of 1. Well, the absolute value of 1 is 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. And now we just need to plot these points and go from there. So if we're wanting to plot these points here, we can get this here and plug in the point 0, 0. So 0, 0, we can say plot. The next one we had was negative 1, negative 2, plot. And then we also had 1, negative 2. And we get this here. Now we will pick the ray, and we'll use this first spot here to pick our first point. And that's normally going to be the lowest or highest point. So here it's 0, 0. Our second point is going to be one of these two here. One is to the left or to the right. And we have our first part. Now we'll do it again. Select the lowest or highest point first, and our other value. We can say check. So this is the correct graph. And that's all we have to do for these here. So that's really it for this here. It's very short. If you do have any questions, please let me know, email me, or ask me. But other than that, that is it. You have the rest of the time today to work on the assignment. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.